Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 170.
Yes.
Bingo.
Yes.
And there's no way, because I don't have a computer in front of me, and we're doing this live in the studio, so there's no way for me to know that. 170.
Well, you do have notes in front of you.
But not a number. Of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Rum. My favorite rum, your favorite rum, Parse Rum. When I say Parse, you say?
Rum.
I got the advantage that I'm in person, so it's gonna be
I was
tough.
going to say, I don't stand a
that way.
chance.
Yeah. Go to Benny's, go to your local liquor store, ask about Parse. It's the perfect time of year for a pina colada. It's going to be 88 degrees in New York today, Tom. Do you know that?
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I have tickets to tonight's game. I'm well aware.
Tom is coming to the game. He's really disappointed. I guess this is our first topic. He's really disappointed that Mike Tauchman's not in the lineup because we're facing a lefty. He did hit a homer last night, but we're facing a lefty.
He also has a higher career batting average against lefties than righties in his career, so I don't know if David Ross knows that.
That's accurate.
100% accurate.
Tom said, I'm not done. I'm not just going to talk about Boone. Let's go at Ross now.
Listen, the guy is having an unbelievable heater. Can we get him in the fucking lineup, respectfully?
Can I just say, he's been unbelievable. He's been fantastic, leading off 830 something OPS.
I have his stats since the All-Star break. He's hit. This was as of yesterday, so it doesn't include the homer from last night.
Tom just tweets an update every morning on Mike Tauchman's stats since the break.
He's got a burner out there called like Mike Tauchman's biggest fan.
That's just my real account. I just tweet that from Maine. Since the post All-Star break, he's hitting 363 with a 1.048 OPS, 4 homers, 20 RBIs, walking at a 10.3 clip and striking out at just a 12.6 clip.
Does that include last night?
That does not include last night.
So including another pump.
Including another pump.
What I was going to say is he's been unbelievable. Obviously, he's been leading off against righties, but the last week or so, he's stayed in the game when they've brought in a lefty reliever and hit some absolute missiles against lefties. So I can see how the career splits would be pretty even. Shocked that it's better just as left on left, but at least even.
Yeah, 263 against lefties in his career.
Well, I feel like I know the Tigers do it for sure, but you guys do it a good amount too, Hap. Like teams like to pinch hit now. Like they'll pinch hit, like say you have a righty, whoever playing center field, so lefty starting. And like in the 6th inning, they bring in a right-handed reliever. Like Tauchman will pinch hit in the 6th inning. Like I feel like I know the Tigers do it all the time, and I feel like you guys do it a decent amount.
Yeah, ours is a lot more. If the lefty's starting, and we have a lineup that is put together
righty
for a lefty, so righty heavy. As soon as that guy's out of the game and a righty reliever's in, we're going to the lefty bats. But unless they have lefty protection in the pen, but it's pretty rare because there's only 1 or 2 lefties in the pen. So when the righties come in, you get.
I was gonna say it feels like
lefties
we're
in.
seeing even less and less lefties out of the pen now too. And maybe that's part of the 3-man minimum rule. I don't know if it has.
I think it's part of the minimum. There's a couple teams that are like the Marlins have 4, or did
Lefties?
when we played them, like 4 lefties in the pen. There was another team. There was like 2 or 3 teams that we played that had 4 lefties in the pen, and you're like when you get the report, especially for me because that's the first thing I ask on the report. I'm like, all right, how many lefties are in the pen? Because I have to be pretty aware of like what those guys do if I'm going to get turned around or if I'm going to be hitting right-handed a lot for the series, just for work and mental clarity. But
the thing is, you rake righty.
True.
You've been
Three
raking
nukes.
righty.
I do. Kind of since mid-May.
Nukes.
Guy, what's wrong with your Wi-Fi?
What'd you say?
You were like broken up for 10 seconds. You were talking while Tom and I were talking.
But
it was
so
why don't
that's
you
the
start
hotel
again?
Wi-Fi.
Go
for
back,
you.
start again.
It's a hotel Wi-Fi for you.
Where are you right now?
Charleston, West Virginia. Beautiful town.
Played a lot of ball growing up there. A lot of summer ball games as a kid.
Used to be the West Virginia Power.
But if we want to talk about me for a second, yes, I have been raking right-handed, and it has been great. I hit a homer. I change up homer to dead center. My first right-handed dead center homer in a long time.
How good does that feel? Like I know you're the kind of guy when you're like last night Tauchman hit a high fastball for a homer. I know that's when he's locked in.
He's hitting blacked out.
When you're hitting right-handed homers, I know you're locked in. How good does that feel when you get one righty?
The righty homers feel really good. I think the last couple of years I've hit 2 or 3 for the year right-handed. Last year I hit 2. I think the year before that I hit 2 or 3. I have not hit a dead center right-handed homer since probably AAA in 2019. I hit a couple.
Yeah.
Remember that?
The one off Minter you hit was crushed.
Yeah. And so I hit the
I feel like
change up
that one you got.
change up to dead center, which was awesome. And then position player homer. Right on right, position player homer. Never hit a position player homer before.
Counts.
I'm hearing murmurs. It doesn't count. I'm getting some tweets saying it doesn't count towards the counter.
That counts. I've never done that before, and I've watched a lot of guys take advantage of position players and just be like, God damn it, these guys are they're just hitting homer, like guys that have 3-4 homers off position players for the year, and you're like,
the man in our studio to the left there is Trevor Plouffe, who says he's the greatest, hitting off position players ever. I think he's 2 for 2 with 2 homers in his career.
See, I've never been good at it, and when I switched to hitting right-handed last year, I actually got a couple hits. They were like choppers up the middle, but I got hits. And so to have a righty homer off position player was awesome. Pad those stats. And then the one-off Minter was a really good swing.
I mean, we should also talk about, since he's not here, and we can talk about it. What was the name?
Short-ani.
Can you believe Tom tried to take that from you?
I know. You know what? I started to do it, and then I felt bad. That's I committed, and then I backed out at the last second.
Well, Zach texted us in one of my other group texts and said, like, yeah, guys have been calling me Short-ani. And I go, I'm bringing that up on the pod. He goes, stop. No, you're not. I said, you're crazy if you think we're not calling you Short-ani from now on.
Hey, how many times has he pitched now?
He has like 6 innings. He has a 1.8 ERA, and he got his first strikeout yesterday.
We got a tweet from a listener who, I don't know what his fantasy baseball leagues are. I don't know if this is all fantasy baseball leagues, but in his fantasy baseball league, Zack Short is now relief pitcher eligible.
I saw that. I saw the relief pitcher eligible. But how do you play in a league where you have relief? I mean, obviously we're not allowed to play fantasy baseball. I don't know what it looks like, but are relief pitchers in the game?
Yeah, well, I mean, closers and stuff.
I guess closers.
But like, I think in a bigger league, like the leagues that I used to play, I don't play anymore. It's fantasy baseball is a real commitment. It's just it's every single day, which is.
I'm surprised there isn't a league for the John Boy office.
Jake and I had a team in 2021, and I don't think either of us checked it after like April 15th. The team did not.
It's a lot different than fantasy football, right? Because it's every day.
Fantasy football is the perfect balance of where you can like you can be as invested as you want to be. If you want to like look at it every day and like make all the waiver moves you can. If you want to look at it once a week, usually I'm scrambling to my laptop at like 12:58, going like, okay, who's healthy, who's just in doing that. It's hard to do that with fantasy baseball. You got to commit every day.
I wouldn't talk about Zach, but I have a question for Dakota. Do the counter clocks have a fantasy league for football?
Oh yeah, come on now.
I love that. Ours is Cubbies is big.
It'll be my 3rd league, so I'll have 3.
You have 3 this year. Counter clocks.
I got 3.
Counter clocks is obviously the biggest.
3's too many. Respectfully, 3's too many. I think 2 is the max you can do.
But the thing is, I'm locked in on all 3. Like it's not like I neglect any of them. Like
sure,
I just love it. I love it that much.
Here's my question for you: who are you rooting for? Like when you watch a game. Now you probably got that's the thing for me. I like having one team because I'm able to keep my rooting interest pure. Where once you start having multiple teams, you're rooting for too many things.
Yeah,
and you're like, yeah.
It's tough when there's crossover, when you have like a receiver in one league, but you're playing against him in another league. Like I hope he gets like 15 points. Like I hope he does decent, but not too good.
See, that's not fun to me at that point. I want to root for my guy hard. I don't want to have to be like, I need him to do well, but not so well that he hurts me in the other league, and that's like my better team. So that's the one I'm actually more worried about. But like, he's on my other team, and maybe if we started winning, we could, it gets too complicated.
Do you see how quick I checked out on football there?
I gave a look to Ian, and Ian was like, I don't give any shits about this.
But my main league, my main like focus league is my buddies from college. That's like my most contentious. Like I root for those guys over my other teams.
That's fair.
Teacher favoritism. You know what I've been seeing recently? Because it's Little League World Series time.
Mm-hmm.
It's Little League World Series games.
Yeah.
And the Little League World Series kids are wearing a lot of Bruce Bolts. I was watching, we were sitting in the clubhouse, and I'm watching Hawaii versus somebody, and the kids are wearing my baby blue Bruce Bolts. I was like, yeah, kid. And then he had a tough AB, got punched, but it's all right. It's all right.
Not the glove's fault.
Not the glove's fault. Not the glove's fault. Bat didn't fly out of his hand. Okay, we're right there. Bruce Bolt's sponsoring. They're sponsoring a bunch of teams. A bunch of different teams are wearing their gloves, which is really cool. All the different colors. brucebolt.us. Brucebolt.us. I switched over. I've been wearing my white gloves.
Wow.
Not gonna lie to you.
I like the blues though.
You like the all baby blues?
I'm a big baby blue guy. That's my favorite color. So
Do you switch gloves depending righty or lefty or no?
No.
I know it wouldn't make any difference. I was just curious if you were like superstitious about it.
No. I started wearing the whites again for a little bit, and I was hitting some pumps, so I'm into it. Been rocking the whites on this road trip too. I kind of like the white with gray sometimes.
Yeah.
Last year. Kind of into it. So both pairs are actually in stock right now, moving fast. Every time I check it, a new size is out. But go right now, check, see if it's in stock. brucebolt.us. brucebolt.us.
Zack Short as a pinch hitter. We were talking about how good he was. He's hitting .417 with a 1.25 OPS. Now, granted, this is in a smaller sample size, 14 plate appearances.
You don't have to say that.
12 at bats, but he's 5 for 12 with a homer and 5 ribbies. Also walked twice, only 3 compared to 3 punchies. So pretty good.
What's that on base percentage?
That is 500.
500. That's really good. He's been lights out
Nasty.
on the mound, pinch hitting.
1.80 ERA on the mound.
This guy can do anything.
In the field, he makes he made like a diving play the other day, and it's routine at this point for that guy.
He's had a very good season, as much as he isn't very positive with himself. He's had a very good season, and I'm just looking to try to find the pinch hitting numbers. That's not easy to do. It's very impressive, and he's got over a 1 WAR. He's got like a 1-1, which like without consistent everyday playing time is so impressive. Like it's a real asset for a team, and doing what he's doing is going to keep him in the big leagues for a long time. And I wish he'd be a little bit more positive with himself, but it's really cool to see.
He could be 3 for 4 one game, and he'll still be like, should have been 4 for 4. Like I missed that one.
Yeah.
I should have missed that one last.
Guy hung me a slider. I popped it up. Can't believe it. Oh, yeah. Take it easy. It's a hard game.
Yeah, he's not the most positive person. Only about himself though. He likes to bring himself down, so we got to fluff him up.
He's fluffing everybody else, bringing himself down. But we'll fluff him. He's not here. We'll fluff him.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, 1.1 WAR right now, and I think as you mentioned too, it's been cool to see. I think all of us in this room believe that he could be able to carve himself out as a really nice major league player. Wasn't able to do it over the last 2 seasons. This year, he's kind of cemented himself. Like I'll be honest, I had the Tigers PR notifications on because I've had him up, down, whatever. I turned those off. I'm confident right now that Zack Short is going to be a Tiger for the rest of the season. He's earned it with his playing time, and he's done some really impressive stuff. And as you said, I don't think he gives himself enough credit. But as someone who's been rooting for him, it's really cool to see him kind of really cement himself as, hey, he's a big leaguer now.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I've played full seasons with a 1.5 WAR that I'm like not that upset with. So for him, like if he goes out there and puts up a 1.5,
yeah, he's on pace to do that right now.
It's a huge asset to a team, especially when you can hit 400.
Do you think
off
that WAR takes into account his innings pitching?
At some point, it might.
At some point, it would. Yeah, but he would get it would be like 0.1.
I was just scared because he's given up 1 run in like 6 innings.
Yeah, he's got to make sure he doesn't get laced, or else his WAR might go down.
Yeah.
By the way, on his positions right now on Baseball Reference, he's got 4, 5, 6, 1, 8, 9. The guy's played everywhere except catcher and first base, I believe, and center field. No, center field too. He hasn't played left field.
So he's just missing 2, missing catcher and
first base and left.
Can you look up my 2018?
Yeah.
You have a 0, don't you? Don't you have?
Well, yeah, but 1 inning, not 6. 6 is more impressive. But the number of positions I played in 2018.
2018, 8, 7, 9, 5, 3, 4, 1. Because you pitched that year too.
That's all of them except for shortstop and catcher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got him beat right now. He's got 3, you got 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, will he be able to get into left field this year?
You guys play each other in what, like 2 weeks?
Next week, not this. So we go to Toronto, we go back home for a week, and then we're in Detroit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week.
He was talking about how, like, obviously he hopes it's in their side. For you hope it's on your side. Like if there's a blowout, like he hopes to face you. I told him, I go, if you face Happ, like you're going to hit like at least 85. Like I got him trying to throw one hard.
I'm coming out of the game.
He said, no, you have to face him. You
There's
have
no
to
way.
face him.
No
That'd
chance.
be great. Tom, tell him how good a content that'd be.
I will say, as the producer of the Compound Podcast, I would love if you could stay in there. I'd love you to take that 1AB for us.
It would be good content. I would be so pissed off if he got me out. Like, I would be so mad.
Yeah, but what
He
if
told
you go
me
lefty?
he told me the first pitch he's going to throw behind you.
I would jump into it.
That'd be hilarious.
I would go, ah! Hit me. Trying to get on base.
Oh, that'd be incredible. There'd be a lot of pressure on you. On him, there's no pressure.
There's no pressure on him. There's no pressure on him. If I hit a homer, it's like, I was throwing 65. But like, if he punches me out, because he's not the type of position player pitcher who's just going to only throw one speed right down the middle. Like,
No.
he's going to try to mix it up. He's going to try to do one of these, do one of those. He might throw you a curveball at some point. I'm not into that.
He throws it with 20 ride. He's got 20 vert on his fastball.
Do you know what Tucker Barnhart was throwing 38 miles an hour and had 24 vert the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. How hard is he throwing?
He throws it like around hit this one he struck out Michael A. Taylor on was 71, I believe.
Can we also, for a moment, can we just talk about, I am tired of seeing guys go out there and throw 38. I respectfully to everyone, I understand that's from the organizations, but like if we're going to have this amount of position players pitching, can we have any bit of competitive at-bats? I know it's actually probably harder as a big leaguer to probably hit 38 than it is to hit 80, but as like a fan, it is dull to go out and watch a guy throw 38, respectfully. I think that's like...
I don't disagree with you. I think, unfortunately, the effective thing is either to throw 75, trying to sink it, or like sub 50.
Yeah.
Because
like so slow the hitters like can't time it up.
Yeah, or that they pop it up or hit it into the ground. But we faced Maley 2 nights in a row in Cincy, and he gave up some runs.
I just think it's so uninteresting to watch a guy go up there and basically play slow pitch softball in the major leagues. Like that's just
I do too. I think they should just stop the game. Stop the fight.
That
Just call it. Be like, all right,
We're all
over.
good. We're all good. Thank you.
Or what if you had I was thinking about what if you had like a 27th guy who's only eligible if the game's a blowout or some sort of like, couldn't we get somebody some actual work in the major leagues instead of forcing, respectfully to Zack Short? Zack Short's got a 1.80 ERA, but he's eligible now in fantasy baseball leagues because he's made 5 appearances.
I mean, I think it's also kind of, I don't like getting off position players, so it's kind of your reward for kicking somebody's ass.
That's fair.
It's like, here's the 27th guy. He throws 92 a sink, and you got to figure out how to hit him. It's like, God damn, I don't want to do that. I'd rather not. I don't
think any position players want to pitch.
No position.
Like you don't want to be out there. Like it's funny, but it's like, all right, like I don't want a missile hit right back at me from 60 feet.
And as a fielder, like I don't want to stand out there while guys are hitting rockets all over the place. We were playing. Tucker's done a great job. I think Tucker's only given up 1 run in 3 or 4 appearances, but we're facing the Mets getting blown out after that rain delay, and he comes in, and Morel got ejected, so I had to stay in the game and left. And the guys are hitting rockets off the wall, and you're still running around at 1 a.m. It's like, you don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that either.
No.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things. Like I remember I think it was the Cut 4 account, which we like when a position player was pitching like 5 years ago, and it'd be like a whole thing on Twitter,
Yeah.
and people would be excited. And now it's turned into something where it's not exciting. Like when I see a position player pitching, I'm like, oh, here comes another guy who's going to throw 45, And it used to be more fun. I feel like it's getting a little out of control, and they need to figure out some sort of
I respect
remedy for that.
They tried this year with some regulations. It hasn't really worked. I'm sure we'll revisit it. Can we talk about something?
Didn't like Brandon Crawford hit like 90 though?
Yeah,
when he pitched
against me. His hardest pitch was like 91, painted on the inside corner, and I flew out. Ridiculous.
This guy's nasty.
Yeah, this guy's gross.
Like Garrett Cole's brother-in-law. He's learning from the best.
Well,
that's right.
He's always had a fantastic arm. I want to talk about this, and this is for Tom. Okay? For Tom.
Okay.
I'm ready for more Mike Tauchman conversation whenever you want.
But this is brought to you by our favorite sponsor, your favorite sponsor, Omega Accounting Solutions, ERC. Employee Retention Credit is a government tax incentive that helps small businesses like Connect Roasters, thousands of others in the Midwest, get back up to $26,000 per employee for overpayment of payroll taxes during the pandemic. The most exciting, Omega ERC. best ERC company for getting your ERC funds. Even if you've had the PPP loan, don't forget that. Even if you had the PPP loan, call 800-643-CUBS or visit smallbizcashback.com/Cubs. Free consultation. ERC.
I have a question. Do they put in there for you to chant ERC, or is that your own?
No, that's just that was my bit. The first time I did it, one of our listeners, like, that's a pretty boring ad. That's pretty terrible. And I was like,
I'll make it fun for you.
I got something for you. Walking around all day chanting ERC now, aren't you? Omega Accounting Solutions. I love them. You love them. Tom, this is for you. We talked a lot this year about how Tom likes to boo players to make them play better.
I think this was one episode once, but yes.
Here's proof that 1, players care. 2, booing doesn't help. And 3, cheering can really help. Oh, giving support to a player on your team for the next 20 years can really help them. Trea Turner in Philly gets a standing O. He's been having a tough year, not what he wants. Can we just say still not like...
It's not like even that.
It's not that
horrible.
bad.
You know what I mean? It's just like when you look at the contract, then look at the stats.
And how good he's been the last couple of years in LA, and then you're
Yes.
trying, and then you get paid a lot of money, so the expectations are through the roof. And he had this unbelievable World Baseball Classic, and everyone was expecting him to hit a homer every time.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a standing ovation. I don't know how this was organized or where this came from, but I guess he goes up to bat, gets a standing ovation from the Philly crowd. His mom was there. He said his mom was basically in tears or tearing up.
Yeah.
He appreciated it so much that he took out billboards in the city to thank the Philly fans, and then hits a homer the next day. Like, that is the perfect example, especially in that city, the perfect example of like, hey, if you give positive encouragement to your players, you say, hey, no matter what, you're here for the next 10 years. We support you. Like, keep going, keep trying hard. Oh, my God, Tom, look at that. Maybe you guys should have cheered on Aaron Hicks like the Orioles are. Huh, Tom?
I got chills watching that video of him walking the plate. That was so sick.
So cool. I love positive fan bases. I just love it. That's why.
And it's crazy.
Wrigley's
Like
so
you
awesome.
said, I don't know how it started. Like, was there like a message board, or did people just like a
on
group
Reddit?
start
Philly
clapping
Reddit?
and everyone else was like, yeah, like let's cheer for him.
I have no idea. Did you see the video?
I did not. We were recording Floorball 2 this weekend.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
a
did
good
not-
excuse.
I did
Tom
not see the
Tom
video.
said, "What is that? A standing O for a player? Absolutely not.
Not
It's
in Yankee Stadium. You won't
not-
see that there.
No, we don't
Well,
cheer on the players.
I will say that's pretty impressive coming from the city of Philadelphia, which famously booed Santa Claus and threw snowballs at Santa Claus. So this is a city not known also for being very kind to their athletes.
No,
So
and they're not. And I remember we were playing in Philly in 19, and Harper's first year was 19, right? And Harper was doing fine, not struggling, but like he was maybe 0 for 3 in the game and getting booed. Had fans from on top of their dugout heckling him, and like kind of got into it. And then he ends up hitting a walk-off way back against us. I think it was a walk-off grand slam.
How pissed are you if you're on the other team? You're like, why are you trying to rile him up? Like, we're good. We're 0 for 3. Like,
Well, yeah, but they were, and then they loved him forever after that. And obviously he's been the MVP and everybody loves him. But like, he was going to be there for 13 years. In the first 3-4 months, he's getting booed. It's just stuff like that is like, oh,
Well,
that. And that, I remember that happening in Philly. Obviously we were there this year. Earlier, Trey was getting some boos, and for them to go complete reversal and support the guy, like, it's just such a cool thing to see.
Well, they did it last year too with Bohm. Remember, like there was that video, wasn't it Alec Bohm? And he's like he was on first base, and it looked like he mouthed like, "I hate this place." Like they were booing him, and then
he made an error at third and said, I fucking hate this place. It
Yes.
appeared
And then they
he said
just-
that.
Yep.
Yes. And
they
then
flip it and
yeah.
just say, "We're going to give you a standing O," because, like you said, Hap, like he's going to be there the next 10 years. Like maybe try and support him and show that it's going to be okay. And then he's played well since then.
Yeah,
Crazy how that works. Crazy.
Great. And I think when I saw that, and then Trey, how appreciative he was, I bet you he might carry that team for the rest of the year.
That's
better watch out.
You have no idea how much of an effect that has on him to know that like the city still supports him.
Yeah, and because like you're going to be there for the next 10 years or 9 more years. Like at some point you got to think, geez, like, is this going to be 9 years?
Yeah,
just getting
like I
worn
need to
out
hit
in the city?
350 with 40 pumps or they're going to boom me again.
Yeah. And it's like, I can't go to dinner in the city because if a Philly fan sees me, they're going to go, fuck you. You
Yeah,
stink.
exactly.
It's like that's real stuff. So really cool thing from the Philly fans. Happy for Trey. I think Tom's going to try that at the next Yankee game.
Single-handedly lead a standing ovation. Who should I do
Yeah.
it for?
Do it for
Do it for Stan.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to say
Stan's probably the most obvious candidate.
Do it for Stan. I think Rizzo will get a big one when he comes back.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Because
that was
the
crazy.
Yankees fans know what happened. I think that was a tough run. For everyone, I think everybody knows, but Riz, a couple months ago,
May 28th.
Tatis was coming back. May 28th, Tatis was coming back into first. Thigh to the head, rung Rizzo's bell a little bit. Seen a little bit of Tweety Birds. Comes out of the game, and then, past concussion protocol. Concussion protocol is kind of like, can you remember stuff? Like, here's 5 words, remember them. It's not like crazy. At least when I did it in 21, like it's not like crazy elaborate. And so past concussion protocol, and just really struggled for 2 months without any kind of reason why. And he was feeling groggy, he was feeling a little out of it. Like finally it was like, something's got to be off here. Went and saw a specialist. And one of the things they said was that his reaction time was lower than the average human. And you have to imagine that, like,
Yeah.
here's the average human. There's a big leaguer, and like Anthony Rizzo's kind of at the top of the big league spectrum. So the fact that his reaction time was that slow, and like it just stinks that it wasn't diagnosed and he played 2 months, and like the mental toll that took to grind out hitting a $150 in the big leagues for 2 months and going from like potentially starting the All-Star game at first base with a 3, hitting 310 or whatever.
Yeah, up to that point he'd been really, really good.
Probably the best first baseman in the American League to that point.
And then he hit 168 for 2 months, and it was very. I mean, obviously the first thing that I think everyone came to mind was the age. You thought maybe this is just the end of his, and obviously then now it's a really scary situation. I think the scariest thing is how long it went undiagnosed, and the Yankees have had some. I've had some concerns with the Yankees training staff over the past couple of years. They've had some things that have made me worried, and this is one where you really worry about a player's not only his physical health but his mental health as well, as you talked about. Like, what is that? What toll does it take on a player to go through? Someone like Anthony Rizzo, who obviously cares so much about winning and wanting to make the Yankees a successful organization. The other thing we didn't say is this basically coincides with when Judge goes out. So now he doesn't have Judge in front of him in the lineup. He's obviously, I'm sure, pressing even more to try to make up for that.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things people thought, like, well, with no Judge, like Anthony doesn't have any protection, that wasn't it. And I think it's a really hard thing for him to get through. Just that struggle mentally was so hard, but now he has something to go, all right, that's not me. That was a legitimate
It was
issue,
probably a
like,
relief
mental issue
when he found out like
sure.
he had one, because he's
For
like,
sure.
okay, like that makes sense why I couldn't hit. He's like, this doesn't happen for 2 months to me.
Yeah, and now he just needs to get right, get healthy. There's a lot of stuff that you can do from training your eyes. There's a lot of the eyes go. It's very difficult to pick up the ball in the same way you were because your eyes just aren't adjusting. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, not only with reaction training but with vision training to get that back. And I know he's working pretty hard on that. So
yeah,
it's at least good that there is a rhyme or reason to what was going on.
Friend of the pod, Anthony Rizzo.
Maybe our most frequent guest.
I think Schwarber's still top.
You see that bomb he hit yesterday?
Oh my! Which one?
I mean, you
The
guys are
second one in the second deck.
You guys are ignoring Scott Efros, who's definitely got to be number one, right?
Yeah, true.
Well, he's like a guest host.
I was going to say I consider him like part of the pod.
Yeah.
So do I.
Sad that he's not here right now, though, in New York with us.
I know. That
Yankees,
stinks.
I've thought about him a lot this year. Yankees could really use another arm in the pen, and he was so successful and so fun to watch last year.
Haven't they had one of the best pens in the league?
The pen's been all right, but I mean,
You think Tom's going to talk good about the Yankees?
No, that's a good point.
Come on now.
They're like number 2 in bullpen ERAs. Like they've been fine.
Could always be better.
This was something that you brought up, Dakota. Bobby Witt Jr.
Zach sent this to me.
First player. Tell me if I'm right. First player ever to have in his first 2 seasons 20 home runs and 30 stolen bases in consecutive seasons.
That's crazy.
That is very impressive.
He's so good. The Royals went on that stretch where they went 7 straight or 8 straight. And his stats like for that week where he was hitting like 380 with like 6 pumps, I think.
Yeah. I just think because of how the Royals have played the last couple of years, he hasn't gotten, he got some hype when he debuted because he's a huge prospect, but kind of been overlooked now because of how the Royals have played and where they've been in the division. But I think he does deserve a lot of credit for how hard it is to play shortstop at the big league level. I think I saw this, he's had the best year-to-year change in defensive metrics. So his first year, he really struggled at shortstop metrically. I don't know about errors and everything, but metrically really struggled. And this year, he's been one of the best defenders in baseball, which is it takes time to learn the speed of the big league game, and for him to be able to be that consistent, 20 pumps, 30 bags, and then be one of the best defenders in baseball at the shortstop position. As what is he, 22?
Yeah,
23?
and now he's able to be a cornerstone for a franchise that is desperately, looking for one. Obviously, Sally's kind of on the end of his career, so they're looking for the next guy, and it's time to build around Bobby Witt Jr., and that's something that they can.
And maybe bring back Alex Gordon.
That's what Zach said though. He said that he was like really impressed with how good he was defensively, like not just hitting when they played against him, which, like you said, is huge because the adjustment of just the speed of the game, like you said, getting to the big leagues just took him a little bit to adjust. And now he's been insane defensively and at the plate.
Yeah.
And he flies, absolutely flies.
Yeah. I mean, he can be one of the best players in baseball, and that is a guy that you can build around. And they need that. They need that guy who can hit in the 3-hole every day, and they build around that player.
Yeah. He is 0 for 1 against me, though. Let me go. Hit the ball like 120 right at our third baseman.
Caught it.
Guess what that counts as? Been out.
Did you see the Rangers third baseman, Jung? Line drive. Okay, he's playing third. Guy hits 109 mile an hour line drive. Hits him in the thumbs him, drops it, picks it up, steps on third, throws across the diamond or whatever. Broke his thumb.
I was going to say he probably broke his thumb.
Broke his thumb. He has to get surgery. He's like out for the year.
He's out for at least 6 weeks, they said. And
6 weeks.
Yeah, probably
it's
the year.
horrible.
No way.
I cannot
on
imagine.
A liner.
On a line drive that he just like, it probably knuckled on him or cut on him.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little far away from the mic there. That was not good radio.
I could hear you fine.
But it probably cut on him or knuckled a little bit and just cut him in the thumb. Like, that's so brutal. What a brutal way to have yours. And he was an all-star, right? He's having an unbelievable season.
I mean, rookie season being an all-star.
And that's rookie of the year stuff. I don't know. That it probably opens the door for Yoshida.
I would think so.
And if he wins, he ends up winning rookie of the year and that dude was right in it and had to miss 6 weeks, that's super stinks. And that's a big deal.
For the players
not remember.
Now, yeah.
Let's not forget. That's a big deal because Yoshida's got his shit's guaranteed, right? He
doesn't need the service time.
He doesn't need the service time. He's 5 for 85. He's done. For a guy like that, it's his first year. You get a full year of service, and then there's also some bonus incentive for the pool, right?
Yeah.
Rookie of the year or something like that. If you finish somewhere, I should know this, but
I was going to say that sounds like something you would know as a PA rep.
But I know where to look it up. There's big time incentives for it, all right?
Yeah,
but
I'd imagine.
He did start the year. He did start the year with the club, so he doesn't.
He doesn't need the service time.
He doesn't need the service time, but there's WAR incentive. It's all based on WAR. So if he played more games, WAR's cumulative stat, he'd have more WAR, he'd make more money.
I did see the Rangers are nasty though, by the way. But I saw like the AL MVP like power rankings, and I think Adolis Garcia was 3, Marcus Semien was 4, and like Corey Seager wasn't even on there. I was like, this team is incredible.
They are very good. It's a very good
insane.
Offense. And they just tried to see how many starting pitchers they could get. They have like 7 now.
Yeah.
It feels like to me, I wouldn't. I mean, this is like an easy pick to say, but Braves Rangers World Series, Those are two incredible. I know you guys just saw
Cubbies
them.
are hot.
Cubbies are hot.
Cubbies are hot.
But
Don't count us out.
Cubbies took 2 out of 3 from the Braves.
We
But
did.
how about
really
that?
good series.
How Olsen hit that homer? That was, I think maybe the furthest ball I've ever seen hit at Wrigley.
He hit 2. No, I hit one farther. Okay. He hit 2 homers. He hit 2 homers that were absolutely punished. He hit one through the wind against Adbert on
He hit one that was
Saturday.
452 to like the top of the
that was
bleachers.
crushed.
That was insane.
He hit one dead center. It was like 110 off the bat through the wind. That was ridiculous. And then he hit that one off steal 3-2 slider that he just punished. They have a great lineup. That was my first time seeing them this year. And what Ronald's doing is pretty ridiculous. Like, he just gets hit every time. Really deep lineup. And it's crazy to think that the top 5 guys in that lineup will be together for the next 5. Still 5 years.
When you
left?
say
4 or 5.
I like the Cubbies have been hot for a while now, but wouldn't you say like taking 2 of 3 from a team like that really like gave you guys confidence of like, hey, we can make a run at this thing? Like, we just beat probably one of the best 2 teams in the NL.
Yeah, you know what's weird though is we kind of done that. We've done that at different points throughout the year. Like, we took 2 or 3 from we took 2 or 3 from the Rangers. We took 2 or 3 from the Mariners. Took 2 or 3 from the Rays. Took 2 or 3 from the Yanks. Like, we've done some of that during the year. It was a really good series. We played well. We lost the first game. Max Fried was nasty.
I mean, that's what I was
Lights
going to
out.
say. You guys lost the first game.
Lost
to
the
come
first
back
game.
and win the last 2. Is
Came
huge.
back, won the next 2. Offense did a really good job adding on not easy scoring environments because the wind was blowing in. But, like, the atmosphere at Wrigley was fantastic. Like, they were intense games. They came down to the end. So definitely an awesome series for us. And, like, is it great to beat arguably probably the best team in the NL 2 out of 3? Yeah. But also, like, you can't get too high for any series, but like when you play a series with that much intensity on a weekend in Wrigley, and then you come to like fly through the night and play in New York, and you kind of have like a little bit of an exhale or a letdown. Like, you just can't let that happen, you know, because it's like you have like this. You don't want to get like super.
You saying
high.
I got to rile the Cubbies up tonight? I'll be right
No,
there.
Cubbies had a good one.
That's what I'm
last night.
hearing.
Cubbies are going to be hot now. But you get, like, it just sometimes you come out a little flat after something like that. Like, that's definitely, so, like, you try not to get too, like, fuck yeah, we just did that. And then you come next series and you're like, like the Mets had lost 6 or 7 in a row. Like, they're going to win a game, right? Like, it was a perfect setup. Like, we had just scored 8 runs. I said that the first game against Atlanta, too. We lost 8-0, and it's like, that's great. That's great. You reset the differential. Don't score any runs. Don't waste any. Fucking give up 8. That's perfect. That if we would have scored 5, we couldn't have scored 8 the next 2 days. It would have been too ridiculous. And we had just scored so many against Cincy. It was like, we got to reset it. 8-0 loss is perfect.
Cincinnati must have been a rough flight home after that series, because you guys just laid a number on them in every game.
We just played really well. I mean, team at bats that were just, if a guy was throwing balls, we weren't swinging at him. You know, once the guys started throwing strikes, we hit some homers. Like, it was just a really nice series altogether.
And yesterday, 3-2 win for you guys. That's another. I mean, obviously at this stage of the season, every game's important. But as you mentioned, a little bit of a letdown maybe Monday. Get that win yesterday. Now you got a chance to take the series here again today.
Also, like with Monday coming in, rain delay, long night, to be able to come back like that. And Carrasco did a great job. Like, he was nasty. To not let that game slip away was huge. And to reset and be like, all right, look, we can win the 3, because we haven't really had like a 3-2 game. Like, we've had some like 8-6. We've had some like runaway, like all the games in Cincy, we lost the first one of that series too, and then the rest of them we kind of ran away with. So I think we had a close one on that Sunday, but not like for Adbert to be able to come in, shut the door with a 1-run lead, and he had to go through.
Turn that nice double play to end it too.
Yeah, he had to go through Lindor and Alonso in that 9th. So really, really good one.
Kind of crazy. You guys have the 3rd most runs scored in the NL. Cubbies.
Cubbies are
Boys are slanging it.
Cubbies scored 10 quite a few times.
Guys, it's time to talk about our friends from DraftKings. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code COMPOUND Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code COMPOUND only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort KS. In West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. One boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. 10-plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. All right, let's get you guys back to the show.
Obviously, after last year, Cubbies were kind of rebuilding. And then you come into this year and it's like you got some pieces, but you weren't like a favorite to win the NL Central. How fun is it to be, 114 games into the season and you're a game and a half out of the NL Central?
Yeah.
Like that's got to be electric at Wrigley every game.
I think Wrigley is really, really in a good place. The teams that I've been on that have been good teams, 17, 18, 19 was a good team, even though they didn't win enough games, and 20. 17 and 18, the expectations, 17, 18, 19, 20, they were all super high expectations, right? If you didn't win the division,
it was a letdown.
It was a letdown, and that those teams were expected to make deep runs into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We did it in 17, we didn't win the World Series, letdown. 18, we end up having to go, we win 96 games and have to go to game 163, and then the wild card, super letdown.
Yeah.
And then 19 don't make the playoffs. Super let down. So like 20 of us, we won the division, but 20 was 20. And then we got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. So like all of those good teams that we had were all letdowns. And it felt like there was definitely times because of coming off the World Series and how like there was times I remember playing golf and going on an off day and being like, hey man, how you doing? Like, what's going on with the Cubs this year? Like, well, we're in first place by 5 games. What are you talking?
That's Tom. That's Tom as a Yankees fan. Those are the people you were talking to.
It's like, well, we're in first place by 5 games. It's like, oh, well, good job, I guess. But like now, because we've been bad for a couple years, now there is this like, oh shit, the Cubs could be in the playoffs again. Like we could be playing baseball in October. Like there's this excitement around Wrigley. Like that is such a cool thing to be a part of. Like I wasn't around, I was drafted, but not around at 15 with the big league club. But some of that, like, hey, this team has a chance to be together and good for a little bit. Like that's pretty exciting. So really fun.
How cool was it to see Jed come out and kind of say that you the way you guys played, the Tauchman home run robbery, you mentioned that one. He mentioned a couple specific games were ultimately the decisions between probably a guy like Cody Bellinger being on the team or not being on the team right now.
Yeah, I think really cool the way that we played down the stretch, and I think like that's down the stretch to the deadline. But I think that's like a testament to the veterans that we have in the clubhouse and like guys understanding but not putting too much pressure on it. I mean, we were 8 games out of first a couple weeks ago, and so to play our way into contention there was really, really cool. But also like I know I've been asked this question quite a few times, and like I think it's like Jed put this team together, and I think that like the fact that Jed put the team together and like he's just believing in his own work, right? Like he went and got Bellinger. Like Bellinger could have gone anywhere. Like he went and made the play. He got Bellinger. He paid him for the year. Like he went out, got JMO, who in his since the All-Star break has been 6-0 with like a 2. Like he's been fantastic. That was since New York, and like
the moves around the edges too.
Went and got Dansby, and like all of these things that are like starting to come together, and like even like there was some doubt early in the year in the bullpen, and people going like, well, Jed didn't do enough for the pen. Like pen's been really good. Like guys have solidified themselves. Like Fulham's been awesome. Adbert's closing. Like I think him having the confidence in like what he's built, and then going and not going like, all right, we're not going to sell, or we're going to like buy, sell, we're going to do so. He went and got the best bat. Like he went and got Candy, who's been unbelievable.
It's been insane since you guys got him.
Yeah, he started 8 for 9, like ridiculous. He couldn't get out. So just like that has been really awesome to see, and I think that's like. He's good at what he does. He's built, even on the teams that we struggled on, like he's built good bullpens. He's built teams where he could sell the 1-year pieces to get some stuff back, like when it was understandable. Like that part of it's been people ask us, like, aren't you glad you forced his hand? I'm like, that guy didn't want to sell. Like he wanted to add. And
no,
like,
I don't think any GM ever wants to be a seller at the deadline.
We gave him a chance to like see the vision that he saw in spring, and like we were able to help him like be like, that's what that's what it was supposed to look like.
Well, it's sick too, like for guys like Adbert and Steele and Nico to like experience this, like making a run late into the season, like because you said, like the last 2 years, like they were up there or like up and down, and it was like kind of just a rebuild, and now it's like, hey, we're going for this thing.
Yeah.
And Steele's been gross all year.
And I mean, I think the other thing too is Cubs have a top-ranked farm system. He's been able to do all this, and you got guys like Peter Crow Armstrong and guys who are coming through the system as well, who are not only he was able to do all these moves and add guys like Candy without selling the farm. And you not only, as you said, you have this core in place, but you have other guys who are going to come up through the system the next couple of years who are going to come and complement you guys.
Yeah, and when you have a deep farm like that, if you need to make that move, like the Chapman move, or you need to make some of those moves to get a top pitcher, if you need like, hey, like we got to go get an ace, so we got to go get Luis Castillo, we got to go like the Mariners did. Not saying that the Cubbies are going to do that, but like when you have to do that stuff and you have a deep enough farm to move from, so like all of that stuff is pretty cool. And for those guys, what you said about Adbert and Steele, and I don't think that everybody realizes this. Those guys were part of the organization since like 2012, 2013. What was Steele? 13, 14?
Steele was drafted 15.
We were drafted the same year? That's not right. He was before me.
Might be 14, but I believe it's 15.
I'm going to say 14. I think Steele got there in 14. I think Adbert got there same, but maybe 13, 14. So
yeah,
those guys, maybe Adbert's 14, 15. But those guys,
they're key pieces now.
Have seen the whole thing. They've seen pre-Joe Madden. They've seen when Brendan Hyde was the farm director.
14.
Steele was 14?
Steele was 14.
Tom tried to whisper that, and then he realized his mic was so close to his mouth, and he heard himself talk. So those guys have seen, like, Brendan Hyde was the farm director, pre-Joe, Joe, the 15 run, the 16 run, and then everything else, and now to be a part of what could be this next winning cycle in Chicago. It's like so cool for them. Like, really, really.
And like I said,
fun.
Steele's like 1/2 starter now, and Adbert's the closer. Like they're huge pieces for you guys. It's pretty sick to see them grow to that.
Yeah, Steele doesn't get enough credit, but he should be squarely in the NL Cy Young award. Do you want to hear something that's funny? There was a play. It was a chopper. It was a hard hit, like topspin chopper at Nico when he was playing short when Dansby was out. And it just took a big hop on him, and like it kind of ended up here, hit off the top of his glove, and eventually 5 runs come around to score throughout the inning. It was a rule to hit.
Ah, of course.
Challenged. Steele woke up one day and got 5 runs taken off his ERA. 5. So he went from like a 3 to like a 2.67. It's like a hitter going to bed hitting 260 and waking up at 290. Be like,
as a position player, wouldn't you gladly take that error?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Especially,
and Nico said that. Nico was like, yeah, I mean that was an error. Like that should have been an error from the jump.
And I mean, this isn't really a factor in it, but like they have their contracts. Like Steele still doesn't have his contract. Like I think he'd like that lower ERA.
I think he
when
said
it comes
that, didn't
time
he?
for ARB and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on this TA Jose Ramirez thing? Tim Anderson, Jose Ramirez. Do you want to touch on it? Do you have any thoughts?
We literally got done with our game. We actually had benches clear in our game. Like nothing really happened, but like we had 2 guys get hit, whatever. Like both teams were chirping at each other. Nothing really happened. We come in the dugout or into the locker room after the game and see that on our phone. And I was like, oh my God. I go, this was a full-blown boxing match. They dropped the gloves and squared up. That I haven't seen that in years.
I mean, yeah, nobody's seen it since.
It was crazy.
I mean, even guys like Nolan went out to the mound a few years ago, and like a couple guys have gone to the mound, and then like obviously Amir Garrett did the thing, but like that's like one guy charging other guys, and then the full square up. The only thing since Batista and Odor, right?
Yeah, that's another comparable one recently.
Yeah,
but that was like a legit. The ump's trying to break it up, and then they just both are sitting there, fists up, and he's like, "Nope, I am not getting in this."
He said begin.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. I'm
Listen,
like, I'm not staying
he
here.
He made a business decision. He made a business decision to get out of the way. And it was the right one.
Yeah, I mean,
I did see Hap. You might have seen this, or Tom might have seen this too. But like, I did see Mookie Betts say like, if one of my guys gets like knocked out like that, though, like you gotta go hit someone. Like if you're a White Sox player, like you gotta get in there. And be like,
I think Mookie said the opposite of that. I think Mookie was like,
he said he would just pull people out.
Yeah,
like he said he wasn't going to throw punches, but he's like, you can't let a guy get knocked down and then everyone else just kind of like push and pull. He's like, you got to get in there after that and try to defend your guy.
Yeah, I think it was him and Corbin Carroll, and and Mookie was like, I'm just pulling people away.
Well, Hap, I feel like that's you too. Like I don't see you going in there throwing any punches.
Yeah, I'm not.
I feel like 95% of rosters are those guys where they're just like, let's just break it up, guys.
Well, also like, it's a lot of money in a suspension.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of money. 6 days they'll pay. I don't know if I
kind of thought.
What's worth it? It's like.
Listen, we saw this in person. Hap is a lover, not a fighter. He went and hugged his former teammate when a situation came up with a fight. He was like, "I'll give you a hug." He's not a fighter.
I just don't know what would make me angry enough to give up a week of pay.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
when you're making those 61 M's, you gotta protect those. 1 week of my salary, I could probably afford to give up. I might be throwing some punches over that.
I thought they'd get even more games, to be honest. Like 6, I think he got 6, and Wood Ramirez get 3. I was like, that was a full blown boxing match. I mean, I didn't know what like the right number was, but I felt like I was like, oh, only 6, only 3. Like, all right, that's not that bad.
A lot of content. Last thing I would like to talk about is as it pertains to MLB content. Attendance way up. I feel like I see a tweet every day of like how much like it was the biggest crowd percentage ever. A lot of reasons why it's up. I think MLB. I don't like when people say the MLB. I think Major League Baseball will credit it to the rules changes. They'll try to take a victory lap on the rules changes.
100%.
I think a lot of it has to do with in division. You play in division less times, so people are more excited to go see Cubs Cards because there's only going to be 6 to 7 of those games at Wrigley a year instead of 12 or 13. So there's not the same. Tom's giving me a face. I don't like it.
I don't agree.
There's not the same. Like there's only 6 Yankees Red Sox games in New York instead of 9.
Those always sold out though. I mean, like the I respectfully disagree.
Oh my God. And so there's more demand for that. And like the Cubs are only going to come to Pittsburgh, less times. The Cubs are only going to go to Cincinnati less times. So the fans that want to plan that trip are more apt to go, hey, we have to get down there to see this because it's less times. That's my first thing, Tom. My second thing is, did you see Ohtani? When Ohtani goes and plays, the attendance is I think it's like 4,000 fans more than the average attendance for that stadium for the year. So like these teams are going to play in different places. People get to see new players. There's the excitement of going to, hey, I have to go see when the Angels are in town, which before.
Or I'm guessing like even the Braves go visit a new place and like people are like, ooh, Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, like we want to go see that.
Think about we didn't play the Angels this year. But let's say the Angels come to Chicago. Are people going to buy tickets to watch Mike Trout and Shohei in September versus if we're out of it and the Pirates are out of it? People are still going to go buy that ticket, and so I think that is. I think the balanced schedule has helped. I think the rules change have helped. I think the balanced schedule has also helped, and we should at least appreciate that.
I think it's like we've talked about in the past, but like it helps the teams not in the race as much. Like when Ohtani comes to town and stuff like that, like the Cubs are always going to get fans. The Yankees are always going to get fans. You know what I mean? Like the big markets are always going to have their crowds, but it helps those smaller markets. Like you said, Ohtani's coming to Kansas City. They're going to get a good crowd just to see Shohei Ohtani play baseball.
Some of the numbers are crazy. Like I think last weekend it was like all 15 games had more than 30,000 people and 12 of them had more than 35. Like those are just really special numbers.
Can I say one thing? I do think one thing that's really helpful for baseball, tickets have gotten so expensive in every other sport. And like if you want to go see the Cubs Mets tonight, you can get in for $10-15. And that I think is actually a big selling point for the average consumer out there right now. I mean, I think you see it's comparable to going to the movies. It is an activity you can do. The rest of sports have turned into this is an event. This is you go once a year.
Yeah.
You can go to 10-15 baseball games and go and spend what you would spend on one or two NFL games.
Do you think that's a factor of the Mets being sellers? Like I've got a feeling that Wrigley's probably not the cheapest
for
to
sure,
get a ticket
for
to
sure.
right now.
And when somebody was just in town, I can't remember who was saying
Reds
this.
or
I think
Braves.
one of Nico's buddies was in town. He always buys tickets, and he said like a bleacher ticket was like $160 but Cubs. I mean, it was Cubs Braves big series, the weekend. Everything was probably already sold out. So yes, is it a little bit of a product of that? But that also helps. Like the Cubs games are going to be sold out no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. But like
there are obviously markets that are outliers.
Yeah, and if a Mets game isn't going to be sold out, and you can go for $10 or $15, like it keeps people coming to the ballpark. Can I ask you a question as a fan who goes to baseball games? Has the length of the game impacted your willingness to go because you know approximately how long it's going to take?
I think it helps. Like, for example, I'm going tonight with my girlfriend who was not a baseball fan. I'm trying to introduce her to the sport. I think it is helpful to be like, hey, instead of going like this could be 3 hours, this could be like we'll probably be done in 2.5 at most 3 hours. Like we can plan our night around it. I do think it's helpful getting people in the door. I think the biggest thing with baseball is it's such a good in-person product. You just need to get people in the door. So whether it's the cheaper tickets, whether it's the shorter games. I think the other thing is also we went through a pandemic. People were inside for a long time. You see like movie attendance is way up. People want to go outside and do things right now. So I think I think we're catching a lot of things at the right time. And it's great for the game of baseball that there is so much quantity of tickets. There are so many games that if you want to go to a baseball game, there's no reason not to right now. And as you said, I think the rules, I do think they make an impact on at least mentally for the non-baseball fan. You could say, hey, this used to be a 3-hour endeavor. This is 2.5 now. It might be 2:10,
Or I think the fact that you're like, this is 3 at the most. Where if you went to a Yankees Red Sox game or a Yankees Orioles game, like some of those AL East was the longest game. And it would
every Yankee Red Sox game was 4 hours.
It would be a 3.5. It would be a 3.5 to 4 hour game, and you're talking about like, well, we're gonna get there. We have to leave. We're gonna get there 6:45. Game starts at 7. Like we might get home at midnight. Like now game starts at 7. Like worst case scenario, things end at 10.
And I think the speeding up of the game, even though it's subtle for you guys, I think for the non-baseball fan, which is an audience that unfortunately baseball has to cater to a little bit, I do think the speeding up of the game by 10%, I think makes a big difference mentally to those people because they see a lot of why are they standing around? Why are there so many meetings? There's less meetings. There's less standing around. There's more action. And I think that does, again, get people more interested in the game when they're like, oh, there's more balls put in play. Like there's more things happening than, oh, we're on our third mound visit of the inning.
Yeah, I would really be interested to see the viewership numbers on TV because this is the first time we've had an attendance bump in a long time, and like that is fantastic and really good for the game. But I'd be interested to see what the TV numbers look like because that's arguably more important to the finances of the game, which is unfortunate. Can we talk about screen time?
Sloan valves.
Sloan valve.
I was off yesterday. I'm really scared.
Yeah, I think I had a long one yesterday. I'm nervous too.
Sloan's the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. The company is at the forefront of the green building movement and provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water-efficient products, including
Sloan flushers.
Flushometers.
Flushometers.
I was looking at my screen time. I'm sorry.
Faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit Sloan.com.
Not a great one from me. Not as bad as I thought, though. 513.
I'm 625.
Ooh.
Ew.
Not bad. On an off day, I feel like I was pretty impressed with 625.
Oh, God.
Well, how bad?
We'll see if Zach sends us his before we're done
yours?
here.
Dakota, what was yours?
513. It's a tough day. Had a bus trip.
Wow, is Happ above 513?
No way.
526.
No way.
526.
Ian,
I don't know what happened.
what's going on with you?
I'm trying to figure this out. I was on my phone.
I think this is the first time in my entire life I've been within an hour of Ian. It's 59 minutes, but we'll count it. Listen.
Here's what happened. Ian was definitely
long.
on maps. The screen was up. He took a phone call. The screen was on.
The screen was on.
I was on my phone after midnight for too long.
That's where it gets me is I stay up to if I'm up to 1, that hour from noon to or midnight to 1 a.m. is just straight screen time.
That's what happened to me. I don't know what I was doing. Go to bed, dude.
Tom's Sundays are always funny to look at when he sends the bars.
I'm done sending you guys any extra information.
No.
Next time you're just getting the number.
Well, just wait for NFL Sundays in the off season when I'm back up to 8 hours.
The one time that Tom just sent us the number, and then you had to click. You had to click on the photo, and then it was the biggest number you've ever seen.
It's going back to that next week.
Ian, go to sleep. You're up till 2 a.m. on your phone.
I don't know what I was doing, dude.
Well,
we finished the game.
Yeah.
We didn't get to the hotel till 1:15, so that must have been bus trip, and then I just kind of decompressed in the room for half hour, and before you know it, my screen time's 5 hours. Ridiculous. That's episode 170 of the Compound
Podcast. Crazy
Podcast.
win for me. 513 with a win is crazy. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I wonder what Zach had, but Zach didn't want to participate in the podcast today. So, episode 170 of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Rum. I love Parse. You love Parse. Go to Binny's. Go to your local liquor store. Ask about Parse. Make a pina colada. We'll see you next week.